Well, good evening, everybody. It's a pleasure to be back. George Morgan here at your service. It's PSGL, it's Wednesday night, it's Spain tonight as well. Lots on the table, lots of battling. The title contest is still alive and kicking. And Jack, it's only taken us 10 rounds. We're on the 11th. It's all to play for.
Boromant goes on the inside and takes the lead on the final lap of the race. Now it's side by side between Boromant and Warner, but Boromant's got the inside.
Literally a guest star here in this phenomenal race. Cameron Dowd looking to take P2 in his very first PSGL F1 PC race. Incredible to say the least. You see that Putin still lead. 1.5 seconds. DRS.
Hello everybody and a very warm welcome to PSGL season 36, round number 9 of the PS F1 Championship. And we go to a circuit where the fans are wearing orange once a year to support their favourite Dutch driver. It is of course Zandvoort for the Dutch Grand Prix, first opened in 1948 and was back on the Formula 1 calendar back in 2021. And it was first hosted a race at PSGL season 26, and we haven't hosted a race here since season 32, where Rowan took the victory in the end. How will the drivers fare tonight? Well, we'll find out very soon. My name is Jess Ball, your commentator for this evening, and joining me once again, as per usual, we've got Mr. James Head. James, how you doing?
I'm doing really well, Jess. Yes, hoy to all of our Dutch fans that are tuning in here for Premier Sim GL tonight in PSF1. It is potentially a title decider. We haven't done any permutations or anything coming into tonight, but there is an opportunity for Matteo to wrap up the championship. He holds currently, as I mentioned there in the standings, 92 points, 75 points for Cameron Dowd, a 17-point advantage. Matteo outscores Cameron Dowd by 15. He potentially wraps up the championship here tonight, or has at least one hand on that title here tonight. But it's one of his weaker tracks. Who's going to come out on top? You'll have to find out.
You have to find out very soon indeed. And for those of you that are wondering, a race win is worth 16 points. And after tonight, we will have 2 races left. So basically, including the 2 points for fastest lap, here's how's it going to go. So in Matteo gets the gap to around 34 points going into the last 2 rounds. No matter what anyone does, he is champion. But it obviously, if the gap's 34 with Cameron Dowd, then it could be count back nonsense and all that jazz. So ideally, it's got to be fastest laps and he should be with it. But it's going to be exciting for Matteo, of course. He won in Baku. He has a very good showing as well. The final lap, I have to say, last time out was absolutely crazy. And both of us lost our voices by doing that.
We definitely did. And to bring you up to date with what happened on that final lap of the race as well, we had a stewards report. And that was, as I called it in commentary, what happened. Ryan in your own. Ryan picking up 2 licence points, 3 seconds worth of penalties for his final race time. He caused a collision, he moved across on your own, defending down the start-finish straight. It was a judge for him to move across there on your own, and then make him lose that 8,000th of a second, which ended up him finishing in 3rd. Ryan dropping down the field. I think he's down in 11th, if I'm not mistaken, off the race results from what could have been a potential podium. He's ended up in down 11th and 5.3 seconds off the podiums in the end. So unfortunate for Ryan. He will bounce back though for sure here tonight. We are going into qualifying very soon indeed. But standings, here we go. Standings coming into tonight. We're not going to show it on your screen, so I'm going to read it out for you.
It's Connor's birthday.
On 92 points. It is Connor's birthday. We haven't got a graphic. And happy birthday, by the way, to Connor, the big boss there, turning, I don't know, 21 again, I'm guessing his age.
He's 21 again, let's just say that. Anyway, go put the standings, Mr. Head.
He is 21 again. Matteo out on top on 92 points. Cameron Dowd in 2nd on 75. Then it's Flopman 3rd on 57. Renzen 4th on 50. Watch out for him here tonight. Volakongen in 5th on 37. Ian Van Unen in 6th on 35. Then Keki in 7th on 29. Zozo on 23. Jeroen on 22. And Giel rounded off the top 10 on 20 points. And then we've got Yossi on 19. Ryan on 16. Macho on 10. Oh, okay. That's interesting qualifying. Macho on 10, Brando on 9, Nuth on 8, then it's Gustav, Freddy, Baki, Tim, and Stefano, your top 20 drivers. As I think we're going to go into qualify very soon indeed. But what I could see is very interesting, Jess.
Yes, we've got 70 drivers today, and we may as well, if I can find the scene on my stream deck. There we go. We're going to show everyone in the chat on Twitch and YouTube what the drivers have to face in qualifying. We did see the gap was 2,000 in F2 part. It was a 107.7. Well, we're not going to get that at the first half of qualifying, because it's intermediate conditions, James. How's that gonna fare with the driver's confidence? Because it is quite a technical track, of course. Many drivers have not raced here before as well. 4.259 kilometres. A lot of elevation changes. Quite a few bankings as well. And a lot of swooping corners, which could catch the drivers out. I wouldn't want to be driving on the track right now. So they're going to be very brave. So what do the drivers got to think about? Maybe they can learn from what the F1 sim racing drivers did last week around it. In changeable conditions, believe it or not.
Definitely so. Maybe they can learn from me, because I have actually won around here on this game, on this current game cycle, in another league. So I could at least boast that here tonight. Cameron Dowd is the first man out on track. It's a real interesting thing, because Fetty selected a set of soft compound tyres. Everyone else is on a set of inters. So obviously he feels that the tyres and the track is going to try and dry. But I think drivers are going to have a real issue in terms of this track. They haven't done any wet running in Grand Prix mode. They are going to really find out their feet here tonight. 25 litres of water for the intermediates to dispose of per second around this track. And Cameron Dowd is going to put that to the test now, running down in towards turn number 1 at Tarzan, starting up on his run. He really does need a good run to set him off on for tonight, and he is out of sync towards everyone else, so might be the case where he gets 4 runs in qualifying as Cameron now comes to the banking of turn number 2, then in towards Hugenholtz to turn number 4 through the banking now at the left-hander, being cambered there slightly downwards from when it was back in the 1980s. Now run up the strong roller coaster section. We had a roller coaster in Portsmouth. We've got one here in Zandvoort with a 26 flat in the first sector, coming through Skyflack at turn number 7, and then in toward the Marlborough sponsored corner at turn number 8. And he's looking pretty good, I'm going to say, Cameron Dowd right now, coming in toward the right hand of turn number 1. About halfway through the lap then at this point, we're going to be seeing nowhere near the 107s that we saw so far in F2. Cameron Dowd's now coming to the circuit Zandvoort sponsored corner at turn 10, and then in towards the S section of turns 11 and 12, and the chicane of turns 11 and 12 bears down number the 52-2 in the middle sector, so not looking too bad at all as Cameron Dowd coming to the left hand of turn number 12, and then in towards, again, one of my favourite sections down the track, through Ari Lundijk in, or Ari Lundijk box, through turn 13, and then through Ari Lundijk box again at turn number 14, through the cambered banking at turn 14, on the run to line with Cameron Dowd. Is it a good lap to set off the night? It is a 14.9, gets him off the mark.
Yeah, that is a good benchmark time at the moment, but we will expect to see Cameron Dowd do a few more runs, to say the least. But watching Renz right now on the lap, he was purple sector 1, but that belongs to Brando at the moment in P16. So time to go to switch and change it at the moment. Good start that got pole last week. It's also looking pretty quick. It's 26.1 in the first sector. Renz goes purple in the middle sector. So I think this could be a pole time from the man who's been looking very good in this F1 tier this season, as we're seeing Marios, who is now a full-time driver in the Mercedes, slots himself into P2. Keke goes in third. What can Renz do? A 114.6 for the Williams man. This is good, but we can still see Cameron Dowd setting personal best at the moment, unless it's in sector 2 because he's struggling a little bit. But Renz is looking quite good at the moment, but expect times to be very, very quick.
And I mentioned that he would do well around this track. I did mention to Jess that I had a favourite for pole position. I think she's now found out who that is. It's Renz Thomason,
yes,
my favourite for pole. And he's out on top by 0.3 of a second. And to be honest, Cameron Dowd lost that time in that middle sector going for a second run. Renz was so good in terms of his lap time, 14.6. He absolutely excels around this track. He absolutely excels, no matter if it's the dry, no matter if it's the wet. I personally think he's stronger in the wet around here than he is in the dries, and we are now seeing that, and we're all living in Renz Thomason's world right now in qualifying early on, and he's through the middle sector, and he is improving again through this middle sector. Whether or not he decides to set this next lap
James.
is a different thing. He is purple in that middle sector, 11,000, I think, up in that middle sector. Now through the right-hander, Harry Lundijk. He's very low on EOS, though, which makes me think he's going to bail into the pit lane. Now on the run towards the line. Yeah, he is bailing into the pit lane. We should know better with him being on the 10% battery coming through the final corner. But Ren's out on top. Cameron Dowd in second. Flopman there in third. Pretty much a carbon copy of another league that I commentated on not too long back. Very similar to the guys out there. And it looks like, I'm judging by my tyres graphic, Cameron Dowd is looking to go onto a set of softs, so the rain mustn't be around for long.
I've got some news about that. I was waiting to say this actually because I've got my telemetry software on. It says rain's going to stop in 3 to 4 minutes. So it's not going to be raining for the entirety of this session. So that is why we're seeing the likes of Fede and the likes of Cameron Dowd getting a set of softs ready just in case it gets dry completely towards the end of the session. So what they're going to be doing now is they're going to be switching between the inters and the softs. And if it comes down very quickly, they know it'll be time to pit. And we will probably get the DRS enable sign to give us a bit of an indication. So, yeah, it's going to be a wet to dry qualifying, which is what we want to see. Because we don't want a complete wet qualifying because we don't get to see the drivers' pure pace around here as well. But you never know, people may be good in the dry, people might be good in the wet. I will find out for you if it's going to rain in the race, and by the looks of things, it's not. So it's going to be a completely dry race for the drivers, which is going to be good. So they can go with the inters for as long as they want. Zorzo is on a lap time. He is purple set to 1 on my screen. Is he purple on the telemetry? No, he's not. 26.1. 7.2, the fastest first sector with a 26.0. Ryan, by the way, goes second fastest, James. He's looking very quick, but for some drivers, they just want to lay the rubber down right now because they know the conditions are going to improve.
Yeah, Ryan, I think that was on his third run, that set of intermediate compound tyres, whereas Zolzo's a 52.4 in the middle sector on a fresh set. He's going nowhere near the top end of the times. As DRS is now enabled, the rain is still very gently falling, or it was falling out on track. I think it's now stopped.
Too early.
Coming through Harry Lundijk, I think the track is drying. I saw Tim actually flicking between the softs and the inters. It must have been the crossover period about a minute and a half ago. Zolzo there goes third, 14.9. Not a bad lap there at all from him. But it looks like everyone is just going to wait out this period, go on to set of soft compound tyres. I think, honestly, if I was a driver out on track tonight, and by no means I'm not PSF1 standard, so do not take this quite literally, but if I was a driver out on track, I'd actually wait until that spray is gone. Looks like there's a Mercedes and an AlphaTauri and a McLaren filtering out the pit lane, so they're going to try and get their first runs down. If I was them, though, I mean, Zolzo's 3/10 up in the first sector, so the track is improving, but it's not going to improve quick, which is why I would say wait until it dries fully, and then we get a one-shot qualifying session towards the end.
Yeah, it's still quite damp as well, so I wouldn't want to go onto the inters and lose a bit of track time because the ones that are in the pits now, as soon as it dries up, they can go straight in. But if for everybody else who's on track, it dries up when they're currently out on track.
Oh, it's drying quick.
It is drying very quick. I did a race around there where it was, I think, dry to light rain. And it only took a bit of... Once it started raining, it was raining very quick, and it took 1 or 2 laps for it to be completely wet. So I think we're going to see exactly the same thing as we got Fede on soft. So also goes on top, by the way. Fede is venturing onto the soft compound tyres. He's going to be the benchmark currently at the moment. And according to my telemetry, it says overcast. No rain expected. So this could be the time when they go on the soft. I still think it's damp personally, but the game's like, nope, it's overcast now. But I'm looking at sector 2. It's looking a bit dry. You can see a dry line there. So I think Fede has gone the right call, but he's not going to have the best conditions. He's going to be the one with the worst track conditions compared to everybody else. But the ones that just came out on inters, James, they are screwed. Look, it's dry.
It is dry. Now watching Ren's actually coming through turns 2, 3 now into the banking at turn number 4. He made a slight mistake coming through turn 1. This is by no means full set of soft compound tyres. It is dry. It is a set of soft compound tyres, but there's no mean feat in terms of this. I mean, I've literally said that, and Ren's 7/10 up already through the first sector. So what do I know? Could be through the right-hander, now turning for right. Zozo from Ren's, from Ryan, currently your top three. We've got Macho and Volakongan going on lap times along with Cameron Dowds, and as well as Zozo, I think, coming back into the pit lane. Ren's now coming through the left-hander, though, of turn number 10 at the Circuit Zandvoort sponsored corner, and this already is going to be up, but more drivers in behind are going to improve beyond what I think Renz is going to do on this run.
Volakongan, purple first sector.
12. Yeah, Volakongan up in the first sector. He's just actually coming out through turns 8 and 9. I think he has got a bit of traffic ahead of him, which is going to be really key. Ren's now coming through the final corner, though, through the bank of Ari Lundijk. On the run toward the line, should go quicker, probably will go quicker. And he does go quicker, 1:11.7, but that time is there to be shot at because Cameron Dowds is up in the first sector. Volakongan, who you mentioned, Jess, is up in the first sector, and Cameron Dowds actually has a run on ball with him, is purple in the middle sector, so Cameron Dowds is up in that middle.
Let's watch Volakongan and then Cameron Dowds after that. So Volakongan going towards my favourite corner. Macho goes fastest with a 1:11.6. And we also got Tim, who's purple in the first sector. He's always been looking good in qualifying this season, so not surprised. And 1:11.3 for Volakongan. Cameron Dowds, can he do any better? Yes, he can by 3/10 with a 1:11.0. Anyone else about to cross the line? I think Tim is going to be up next. So let's watch him. We got a few times dropping and changing. No, it's the teammate of Keko who's about to finish it up. What's going on, James? Oh, look at the traffic.
Look at the traffic and look at Tim's rear tyres. He got caught on the gravel coming through the left-hand turn number 12 there. He made a big mistake coming into the chicane. Think he's still going to go quicker with this lap time, though. Flopman now knocks it out the park, a 1:10.4. Tim should go second, and he does, 1:10.967. But with that mistake, it cost him a lot of time. Flopman now out on top. Tim in second. Cameron Dowds there in third. So it pays to be the question of, you go later in the session, you find the improvements, which is exactly what I mentioned. Keki is up in the first sector. Nuther's up coming through the first sector, I believe, as well. He is up by 1.6 seconds in that first sector. So drivers are noticeably improving, but drivers have left who are leaving it late, like Nuth, like Keki, could find the beneficiary of the times early on. And Keki is up in that middle sector, but I don't know where he is going to be in relation to Flopman.
I think it's going to be a situation where a lot of people want the same piece of Tartman, and they do not want to be the first out in qualifying towards their last laps. So I think we could get some illegal blockings here, and I hate to say this. This is a track where you're going to gain a lot of bit of toe as well as Keke goes fastest. Noob goes up to the line now as he's invalidated in the banking. Scrap that. Let's go on board with one of the kicks out of the Alfa Romeo. Goes up to the line in P2. Matteo goes top with a 109.4. Then Ryan says, if anything you could do, I could do better. He smashed it. Cameron Dowles. He's in the pits, but his teammate could do better with a 108.8. These are the times that we were predicting going into this with a dry qualifying, but the normal times I would expect to see the 1:7, so we're getting close. Simple Art is purple everywhere as well, but on my time it is not, which is weird, so he's going to come past the banking now, up to the line. Is he going to report a surprise provisional pole position? The answer to that is no, but it's not, but he goes third fast. It's Zorzo on a run now. He's heading towards the final part of the lap now, James, and he's purple in both sectors.
He is purple in both sectors, and he's absolutely flying on this lap time. There's a 1:07.7, remember, in terms of F2. In F1, I'm guaranteeing this beyond quicker. Around about a 1:07.5, 1:07.6, and Zozo has came in the pits. Absolutely typical. We're right on board with him. He's purple in both sectors. He's purple in both sectors. And then he chooses, nah, I'm coming in the pit lane. The absolute cockiness of the guy. They're down in 15th position. He obviously feels good in terms of lap time if he's doing that now. Looks like drivers are filtering out of the pit lane once again. Cameron Dowd, Volakongan, Macho, Renz, all on lap times. And at the minute, I mean, if the session was said now, Gustav, Ryan, Sapala top 3 is a real shock of a top 3. Cameron Dowd, Volakongan, Macho, and Renz, normally drivers that I would expect to be up there. 10th, 12th, 13th, and 14th at this stage. Renz is just going on for his lap time now. We'll see what his first sector is going to be like. But Gustav, Ryan, Sapala, top 3. I will say this now. It's not going to end this way. Renz is coming through the first sector, and he's already up in the first.
He looks so committed. It's looking like it's normal time for him at a 23.7. Not many people have gone in at the 23s, and this is what we would expect a lap to be like as he heads towards turn 9 and 10 now. You're going to be staying on the right-hand side of the track as you prepare for turns number 12. You could use some of the curb on both sides if you can, which Renz does. Slight right-hand bend coming up, and now you're going to be heading towards turn number 14. A very fast and bank right-hander that leads onto the main straight. Renz purple in both sectors. This is going to be pole. This is going to be provisional pole position for Renz. But what lap time is it going to be? A 107.854. The track is ideal for the Williams man. The driver who could still upset the likes of Cameron Dowles and Matteo in the championship. We got Matteo early down in 5th. Cameron Dowles in 11th. Cameron Dowles, he's 2 seconds up in the middle sector. But I don't think he's purple unless the timings are struggling to update at the moment, so it's really hard to tell. But let's watch Cameron Dowles. How he finishes his run, James.
Yeah, coming through the final corner, he's going to be very close to Renz's lap time. I can guarantee you this. Cameron Dowdes on the run to the line. Doesn't find the time, but he is very close indeed. 300ths of a second separating Renz and Cameron. Exactly the front row of the grid I was expecting. Macho there going third, 107.9. Drivers are finding more and more improvements as this track and this session goes on. Bolokongan in the middle sector. He's 2.5 tenths down on Renz and Cameron Dowdes, so he's not factoring in this session. Keki gives us our 5-place grid penalty, so we're going to get a mandatory restart at the end of the session. Bolokongan, though, next up, coming through the final corners, through Harry Lundijk at turn 14, on the run to the line. Does he bail into the pit lane, or does he finish off his run? He finishes off his run on the run to the line. He's only 4th fastest, a 108.3. That's a little bit of a poor lap, I was going to say, from Bolokongan. He is capable of doing a lot better than that. But it's Renz out on top, Cameron Dowdes in second, Macho there in third. But Jess, this qualifying session is wide open. Renz has came in back in the pit lane. I don't think he's got time for another run. Cameron Dowdes, Macho, all on down laps at this stage. Anybody on an out lap right now could be on for pole.
We could get a shock to the order. And this is really great about these conditions as well, because the softs came at a really bad time in terms of sinking, and it is a short lap. So Cameron Dowdes, yep, he's not going to have enough time. Renz is not even out of the pit lane. So those two, it's going to be a cork in the bottle for them. Yep, Renz has retired from the session, but we got Renz's teammate Ryan on a run. This is going to be his last run in this session as he heads towards the end of the DRS straight. Green, personal best in sector 2. Not purple, though. Renz is still purple sector 2 at the moment. You're probably thinking, oh, it's purple in game. Well, it's not purple for us, as you can see in our commentary box. Ryan, who's been on form recently in terms of qualifying, what's he going to do? Takes the shortest run to the line. He goes 7th fastest. Mercedes driver of Marios and Bolokongan has retired.
Gustav's absolutely charging on this lap time, Jess, coming through the left-hand return number 12, then through Harry Lundijk at turns 13 and 14, nearly getting caught in the bank in there, right to the marbles through the curb, and now at turn 14, this should be ahead of Renz. Gustav on the run to the line, it's not, he goes third, he lost all of that time. Slotman now goes quickest though, Slotman on pole for now, Freddy there is done, Zorza is done, Nuth is done, Ryan there is 2.5 tenths down, he looks done, Sapala's done, Matteo though is improving, 47.2 in the middle sector. I don't think he's going to be on par with Slotman though. Now on the run to line. Championship leader needs a big lap time. And he doesn't get one, but he goes 8th ahead of Tim. Not a bad run at all. 107.978 from him. I think everyone is done now, apart from, I think that was Brando coming to the line. Keki to the line as well. No, Sapalo, I think, is down.
Yeah, he's well done. Yeah. Okay.
Well done his lap time, but Slotman it is out on top. Renz in second, Cameron Dowdes in third. Oh, I nearly got it right.
Yeah, James is always good at terms of predictions, guys. If you know him well, you know him well. But look at the top 6, separated by less than a tenth. Top 2 separated by 2 100s. Not close to F2, but to be fair, we didn't have dry the whole session. We got the top 3 separated by 5 100s. Then a few thousands separating Cameron Dowdes and Gustav, the 2 teammates. Macho, a few 100s between him and Gustav. Then 100 separating Macho and Brando. And then Brando, very not that far behind either. Then we got Matteo, Tim, Keke also in our little group.
And it's a good job they've actually got their times in because it's raining out on track.
What? Live raining in 4 minutes, it says.
It's like raining now.
Yeah, well, it said it's meant to be inters in 4 minutes. That's what it said. Wow,
Yeah.
that is something that I wasn't expecting, but most of the grid are separated by 5/10 of a second. No, this is not F1 sim racing, but this is the pinnacle of PlayStation. These guys want to get into F1 sim racing in the future. This is the place to be. We are going to get a lobby restart, as James was saying, but we'll run for your order. I don't usually get to do this, but I get to do it this week because I'm cool. Anyway, Flopman in the Sauber in P1 with Renz Tomlinson in P2. Then we got Cameron Dowes in third, Gustav in fourth, Macho in fifth, Brando in sixth, Fede seventh, Matteo, your championship leader. Not looking good if he wants to take the title tonight. Then we got Tim in ninth and Keke in 10th. Then we got Zorzo, Noof, Marios, Baki, Ryan Volakongan, and Tapala, your top 17. Only 17 drivers tonight. But before we go to the main race action, let's have a quick word from our title sponsor, GT Omega. We'll see you in 30 seconds. Welcome back to PSGL PSF1. It started off nice and wet, and then it was dry at the end, but it did not disappoint, and we're going to be in for a great race. 35 laps await our drivers. Not many people have raced here before, and for some people, they're going to have plenty of soft tyres to boot as well, but they're not going to go on them. You got myself, Jess Ball, and James Head in the commentary box, and we're about to get a lobby restart because of an illegal blocking, but I'm very excited for this race.
I'm very excited for this race, and honestly, I thought that end of the session would have thrown up a few shocks. We could have seen Sapala and the likes potentially on pole there in terms of that session. I mean, things continue as they normally do here in PSF1, and it probably does here, and it's exactly the top three I would have went for, just in different positions. Flopman out on top from Renz in second, Cameron Dowds there in third. There's only, what, 500th of a second covering the top three? Dirk set up quicker pole time, as you mentioned there, in F2, so Dirk at least can have the bragging rights in terms of having a quicker lap time than F1 tonight. But in terms of the qualifying session, and towards the end of the session there, you saw on the screen that it was raining towards the end of the session, so good job that they got their runs in. Flopman though out on top, Brent in second, Cameron Dowds in third, exactly the top three that I would expect to be up there. Further down the field, Matteo there, 8th position, has got a big mountain to climb if he's to try and gain points on Cameron Dowds here tonight, to try and put one hand on that championship. One hand is technically already on that championship for Matteo. For Matteo even, he's 17 points clear of Cameron Dowds coming into tonight. 92 to 75 is the gap. But Flopman throws a now and a real ideal perspective into this race. Flopman is there to ruffle feathers. He is there to really, really give Cameron Dowds, Renz, and Matteo further down the field something to think about. He's third in the championship, and he's on pole, so he has got a really good chance of winning this one.
Yes, because we still have a few people that are in this championship fight, and it's not just Matteo and Cameron Dowds as well. And I like this three-way fight, as it were, because obviously there hasn't been many consistent drivers in this championship. Because we have Matteo and Cameron Dowds that have won races, but Flopman has won one, Renz has won one. But there's some races where they haven't performed to the best of their ability. I believe Renz wasn't here last week where we were at Baku. He probably was relieved that he wasn't racing in Baku. And there was a few DNFs to boot from some of the other drivers as well. I believe Renz DNF'd in Australia due to no fault of his own, no offence. If Renz finished the race, he would have won that one as well, but he got caught up in an incident that wasn't his fault. But imagine where he would have been without that that DNF in Australia, James.
Definitely so, and I think Renz had a test, if I'm not mistaken, last week. This is going to be a whole different test. Let me put it this way for tonight. I know he's there in the chat because I can see him there in the chat, so if you can confirm that he had a test last week, that would be great. But the four men coming into tonight, Cameron Dowds. Cameron Dowds has scored consistently in the top four the last four races that he's participated in. And that's funny enough, the last four races that we've been in as well. So he's the man in form coming into tonight. Flopman there in third. He's had a really, really troubled season. He got involved in incidents early on in the season. Won in Monaco, remember? Second in Austria, second in Portugal. Is he beginning to come to the ball? Can he remain consistent moving forward? That will be my main concern about him. And then we've got championship leader Mateo. Third in Portugal. First last week in Baku after that stunning final lap overtake down into turn number 3. He is the man that has got the race win under his belt. But Cameron Dowds is the man that's got the form under his belt. And as you mentioned there, I wouldn't even rule out Rennes in terms of this championship. No. He had that DNF, as you remembered, in Australia. That was round 1 of the championship. But then he bounced back to have 2 podiums on the trot, 1 win in Belgium, and then again in Monaco, 3rd in Monaco to Flopman. And he would have been right up there in terms of that race. But in the end, Mateo currently leads the standings in 92 points, Cameron Dowds on 75, Flopman on 57. If there's any race where you can try and get a big advantage, to try and gain some points, try and drag Mateo down a little bit, it's here in Zandvoort. All the cards will be laid on the table, Jess, and we're about to get going, I think, into the race.
Yes, the drivers have been told by Ryan to ready up, and as we were saying with the championship, because the gap needs to be 34 points going into the final 2 rounds, Flopman and Rennes are above that at the them so if they want to have a decent result, they can't be at the gaps they are tonight. If they're at the gaps they are tonight, then that's it. That's them ruled out the title fight. Cameron Dowds just needs to finish near Mateo in order to stay with his championship fight. So Cameron Dowds has a bit more of a chance. But for Flopman and Rennes, this has got to be their race tonight. This has got to be their race where they put out all the stops. Don't forget, this is the final few races on F1 23 before we go to a brand new game as well. There has been some hype over the last few days or so on the EA Sports F1 24 Twitter account as well, about F1 24 as well. I hope you're excited as I am as well. I know quite a few people had tried out the beta last week. I didn't. I was very unlucky. I didn't get it this time, but I was probably glad because I didn't have time to play it. But I'm sure the ones who played the beta have given some really good feedback to give to the developers to hopefully make it one of the best games, fingers crossed. Because we are in the lobby and in the session. The drivers should be getting their setups now. James, I'm going to ask you for a prediction. Who's going to win the Dutch Grand Prix?
I hate to break it to you. I'm sticking away from Rennes. I was going to go Rennes, but then I saw him going in P2. I'm going Cameron Dowds. Why not? I know I'm going to be his biggest fanboy, and I know I
jinxed him last week. I predicted him last week, and he didn't win. He got second.
Well, let's hope if I predict him this week, he might win. So I'm going to go Cameron Dowds for the win.
Should I be annoying and go for Rennes?
No. You've picked him before.
I think I'm going to go for Rennes. He's going to get a good turn into turn 1, and he's got a point to prove as well, but watch out for Flopman as well. Get your predictions in chat. I'm sure James Head will look in the chat and see your predictions as well on YouTube and Twitch. But don't forget, we are sponsored by the lovely GT Omega. 5% off all GT Omega products by using the code PSGL at checkout. Or you can check out our partners at Sim Racing Centre. You can get 10% off all Sim Racing Centre products, which includes strategies, coaching, setups, and Bob by using the code PSGL at checkout. 10% off. I won Bob at SRC quiz on Friday, so I'm going to be getting it delivered after my holiday, which will be quite nice as well. But yeah, who's going to join the really great list of Warren from season 32, Ismail Fassi from season 30, a podium sitter in F1 Sim Racing, doing very well in the championship, Joost Noordijk, season 29, Duncan Hofland, season 28, and Matthias Vernerven, season 26. Matthias taking a bit of a break from F1 Sim Racing for a while. I believe he's focusing on iRacing, I believe. So best of luck to him for that one. So have they been given the all clear to ready up then, James, or are they just still waiting?
Ryan has not given the ready. Well, the ready up has been given in the lobby. I'm not sure if the ready up has been given going into the race, if you know what I mean. But
okay, yeah.
No messages yet. Hopefully, though, we'll be able to get going very soon indeed. And as you mentioned that, Ismail Fassi, about him. Taking that race win in season 30, absolutely doing wonders, I've got to say. The artist, I think he got called in commentary by George Morgan. He was an absolute godsend last week in F1 Sim Racing. Congratulations to him on his podium. We're going to go for red lights though here out on track in Zandvoort, and it's going to be lights out and away we go, and Flopman gets a very good start. Renz gets a good start, and Gustav spins through down towards someone, and already a VSC. VSC deployed out on track. We've hardly gone 100 yards, and there's a VSC. That's because of Gustav absolutely spearing off on the left-hand side of the track. Got to be something wrong with his equipment, potentially, in terms of that. Very weird indeed. VSC deployed out on track, smashing his car into the front wing. Not the sort of start that Gustav would have wanted. He's either got too trigger-happy on the throttle off the start, or that was just pure force feedback going left, and he can't control it.
Well, he's got his car going again, which is always good news, so it might be a controller issue, but he will have to dive it into the pits. But at least that VSC has helped a bit, but we are underway once again. Most people have gone on a hard compound of tyres, with Matteo up the inside of Matteo, up into fourth place. Matteo and Fede going side by side in towards turn number 10. A bit of a love tap between the Aston Martin and the Red Bull, but Matteo is going to try and do a see you later into the braking zone, but he's not going to do that. He is not going to do that. We've got one of the Williams trying to go for it. That's Ryan on backy just in the final sector. Those are the tyres for you if you're wondering. Fede is on the softs, Matteo and Brando on the medium, so is Gustav. Everyone else is on the hard compounded tyres. Expect Fede to make his way up. We got the Mercedes fighting off, but we got Brando, Matteo and Fede towards turn number 1. Fede goes around the outside of Matteo, your championship leader. Matteo's up a few places, but Fede has gained more.
Passing of the Red Sea through the middle of turn number 1 from Fede. On that set of soft compounded tyres. My word, he's making them work early on. Looking at Matteo, he's gained positions off the start. Brandox has lost positions off the start as well. But Flopman, Renz, Cameron Dad still your top 3. Coming through Sky Flag for the second time. Gustav is in, preparing his front wing. He's going onto a set of soft compounded tyres. He could go mediums towards the end of the race unless there's another VSC or safety car. Fede, though, was all over the back of Cameron Dad. He has gained how many positions off the start? 3 positions off the race start. So has Matteo. Most drivers have gained positions off the race start. Backy has lost 1 along with Macho. Everyone else has either gained or stayed the same. Fede on the back, though, of Cameron Daz, going to try and make the move on the flying Scotsman. Coming through the left-hander now, turn number 12, in towards Ari Lundvik at turns 13 and 14. Flopman from Renz from Cameron Daz, but Fede is going to be on the back of the flying Scotsman. There's a new train in town. It's Fede coming through the final corner at Ari Lundvik. Is he going to try and get the run down in towards Tarzan at turn number 1? No, he just isn't quick enough down in the straight line, and Cameron Daz will remain third.
Yeah, Cameron Dell's just playing it safe. That's what he did last week in Baku. Some people were just saving their engine because they don't want to get involved too quickly with the ERS. And just a thing to point out about Zandvoort, it is a fuel burner. You're burning so much fuel because you're on the throttle for a majority of the lap. So they got to be finding some ways to calculate their fuels effectively to make sure they don't run out. If there is a safety car, there could be a few people that have under fuel that might be in a bit of trouble. But if there is a safety car, that's when they can save some fuel. DRS is activated, so we can start to see potential moves being made. But like we saw in F1 Sim Racing and in PSGL in the past, in PT F1, here come the trains as we head towards the final sector. Flopman still remains out there on top, but Ren's going to give Flopman a run of their money. I wonder if there's going to be a DRS switching between the pair of them as well. Heading towards the banking once more. Do not go ERS through here because that will send you into an absolute frenzy and it might send you into a spin as we head towards turn number 1. It's coming down, trying to go for a send. That's not working. That was a bit of a love tap from Cameron Dowles, but he stays up in third. But by the way, someone on Twitch, I think Javoldo F1, says that your voice is amazing, James.
Thank you very much. Cameron Dowds on the back of Renz. Cameron Dowds there in third. That was opportunistic from the Flying Scotsman. Should have never attempted to move down towards turn 1. Renz always was going to have the racing line through in towards turn number 1. And Cameron Dowds there in third. He's right on the back of Renz. Renz there on the back of Flopman. Everyone's just going to stay in position, I think, as they are right now. I'm on board with Cameron Dowds. He's got 87% of ERS early on. I normally say he is the better ERS holder on this grid. But Renz Thomason ahead of him has got a full amount of batteries. He's got 10% more already at this early stage of the race compared to Cameron. If you're wondering what ERS is, and wondering about that. Basically, as they come out the corner, Renz hopefully will give us a bit of a demonstration coming now through the right-hander at turn 13 and 14 in towards Ari Lundijk. He gets on the throttle, battery goes down, see it 98, 97% now coming through Ari Lundijk. There is a caution, and that's Baki, I think, that has spun. Sorry, Gustav that has spun. Here comes Renzo for the race lead on the outside line, down and towards turn number 1. And that is a carbon copy of what good EOS can do to you. We're getting to about 20 mile an hour extra down the start finish straight, and Renz has proven that, and he now takes the race lead off Flopman, and now he has got control of the race.
He has as well. That was very well timed as well. And he's going to pretty much try and save at this point. Unless Flopman can get past as well. But maybe those two can gain by DRSing each other. And the rest of them just lose time because of it. But everyone else in the DRS trains are potentially going to be doing the same thing. Fedi is not as gaining as much as we would have liked. Because he's stuck behind all these drivers on hard. Which is just going to show how close this grid is. As Gustav has retired in the pit lane. He's called it quits. I would imagine that something is wrong with his equipment in order to do that. That is such a shame for the man who got pole last week in Baku and was doing such decently in that race. Unfortunately, he's gone from hero to zero in a space for a week. So yeah, that is his race done, and we're down to 16 drivers, and he'll probably be ghosted in towards turn number 1. But we're about to start lap number 6. I will always see Flopman go for the move on Renz Thomas, so he's going to do exactly the same thing, but Renz shuts the door and Flopman stays behind. But I think he's chosen to back off anyway to save some energy.
Yeah, definitely. So I mean, we're 5th of the way through the race right now, and honestly, nothing much is going to happen for the next 6 or 7 laps. You may as well go and make yourself a coffee or something right now, because literally I don't think many overtakes are going to happen right now out on track. But Renz leading the way, Flopman in second. Flopman is now trying to really hassle the back end of the Williams, coming through the right-hander Sky Flack at turn number 7. Nearly got caught out wide there, actually, coming through turn 7. But Flopman is just trying to force Renz to up the pace slightly. He feels he can go a little bit quicker. So I wonder if he's going to force the pace and make the move down in towards turn 1. Hopefully we hear from Gustav, by the way, in the Discord about why he's retired from the race. I can only assume his wheel has gone all the way left off that race start, which is why you saw how really, really peculiar that was. I've got to say, I've never seen that on this game cycle, certainly. But there's a first for everything. Renz out in front from Flopman in second. Cameron Dad's there in third. And in turn, in the 30 seconds that I said Flopman could get Renz, he's now under pressure from Cameron Dowd running down this race. He's obviously made a mistake. Mateo looking for the move maybe on Fedi as well. Down in towards turn 1. Cameron tries it again in towards turn 1 at Tarzan. This time he's given the room. This time he fights with Flopman. Flopman's going to give him hardly any room now, coming in towards Hugenholt at turn number 4. Cameron Dowd tries to go all the way around the outside of the banking through Hugenholt. Can't find the way through. Flopman there into third, but look at Matteo in behind. Up the roller coaster section, in towards Sky Flack at turn number 7. Matteo trying to find past his Italian friend of Fedi, but he can't get the job done. Matteo there in 5th. Fedi there in 4th. But I can say, definitely, Jess, those softs for Fedi are definitely going off now, as proven by Matteo down the inside of turn number 9.
Yes, I think Fede is losing a lot of time, even though he's in the 12s, just like everybody else. We're seeing Matteo, who's about 3 seconds quicker, and Brando's going to take advantage of that as well, as he tries to get past Matteo. Fede is covering everybody off, and this is not a position that the guys behind Fede would want to be in. It's also side by side with Tim in the background. Red Bull versus Ferrari. When's the last time we saw that, I wonder, in F1? As also keep ahead. Don't forget the top 10 in PSGL score points, but it's quite different to what we see in the normal F1 points. First place gets 16 points. We got a battle for the little second place as Cameron Dowds goes to the outside. Is he going to make it for an unconventional move? Cameron Dowds says yes. Beautiful from Cameron Dowds. And I wonder if Flopman's going to try and challenge that. He is going to gain. He is gaining. He's right on the back, still on the gearbox. I wonder if he's going to try and go for the move towards turn number 6 and 7. If I was him, go to the right potentially. No, he's not going to go for it on the right-hand side. But Cameron Dow's doing a great job, but Flopman is just keeping at him and applying the pressure to him.
And Renz has just made a slight mistake out in front as well. He got caught on the outside curb, coming out of turn and break, Tony Hawk style almost, on that outside curb. We're seeing Macho trying to go around the outside and Brandox, and there, Matteo down the inside line of Fedi out of all of this as well. And they're side by side now, coming into the chicane at turns 11 and 12. And Matteo is given now the room of the race, and he's now up into 4th, the championship leader on the hunt of his nearest rivals. Flopman, Cameron Dowd and Renz all ahead of him. If anything happens out of this race, I hope to God that the front four are going to behave themselves. That is what I am hoping for in this race. Brandok's now on the back of Fetty. Fetty's softs are absolutely done. They're crying out for a bit more temperature. Matcha those crying out for sixth position. Down the inside line of Fetty. In towards turn one. Brandok's very late on the brakes. Macho sweeps up the inside line. Could get both of them. Has certainly got one. Fetty's a sitting duck. Really comes across in a mare does Macho on Fetty. Fetty down into seventh, and he's the crocodile that's sinking.
Yep, he is sinking, and he's going to be out of the points if he's not careful. And do you want to...
Keke
is going to go for the move on Fede in towards turn number 6 and 7. Can he make it stick? He's going to try. Going around the outside of turn number 8 and 9. And what a move from Keke. This is a really great performance from the Ferrari driver. He's on the hard compounder tyres. And you can see the softs are dying. He's in the 113s, James, where everyone else is in the 112s. He's struggling.
He is struggling, but put it this way. Oh, it's Nuth nearly looks up into the back of Timber. Keke, around the outside of Skyflack. You never see a move around the outside of turn number 7.
No.
He had the commitment. He quite frankly had the guts to pull off that move. Around the outside of turn 7, then again around the outside of turn number 8 in Marlborough. We're seeing the change for the race lead up the hill as Cameron Dowd is through on Rennes for the race lead. Flopman now remaining in third. But Keke, my word, I don't know where he's got that from, or as Fetty goes locking sideways in towards turn 1. Tim losing the position to Nuth. Zolza now around the outside. It's all getting a bit scrappy now in midfield. Zolza to the inside line, trying to now force Tim up the banking. Tim nearly loses control of the car up the banking, but he's got the control of the car back, and he's ahead of Zolza. Run up the hill through the roller coaster section in towards Skyflack at turn number 7. Breathe, everyone, breathe. Cameron Dowds leads, Ren's in second, Flopman there in third. We're coming back to Keke for a second. Keke, not often drivers make a move around the outside of turn number 7 and pull that one off. That was phenomenal from him. Don't know what he's been having for breakfast, but I want that tomorrow.
I wonder if he's having porridge, maybe, from a certain Mercedes driver from 2021 who likes to pull off great performances in the race sometimes. I'm not going to say who, of course, or maybe he's performing like a champion out there as well. We could have a champion being crowned tonight on Matteo if he outscores Cameron Dowds by quite some margin, which will probably rely Cameron Dowds to not score. But as it stands, the championship will still go to another round in Brazil next week.
Ooh. As
Ren's made a mistake, so I wonder if he had a bit of a screen freeze there.
I think he got caught in the inside curb, personally. That was really strange. I saw that just riding on ball with it, and Ren's almost looked like he got caught on that inside
as
curb.
well.
He got ghosted as well, which makes me think he might have hit the inside wall, potentially. I've done that in a league race around here, and it was, funny enough, the league racer that I won around here as well. So it is possible that you can just take a very deep angle down in towards turn number 1, clip the wall on the right-hand side, maybe knock off a little bit of front wing. But I think Ren's is fine. I don't think he's got any damage, but that certainly put him on the back foot compared to Cameron Dowds. And Cameron Dowds is probably thinking, well, you're 5.5 tenths behind me now. You're not going to company this stuff around. I've got more ERS than you. Ren's is now having to use a little bit of battery to catch back up. Cameron Dowds now has got control of this race, and this is what Cameron Dowds does so well. Management of his races and his management of his ERS. Not only that, I think he's one of the best console drivers out there right now. Ren's in second. By all stretch of the imagination, he's going to try and closing him now down in towards turn 1, but judging by him pulling to the right-hand side, he's not going to go for the move.
He's not going to go for the move just yet, because otherwise he's going to burn all that battery and burn all that fuel. So the top 3 are running nose to tail right now on lap number 12 of 36, keeping those hards at bay. Well, don't forget, we've got the likes of Matteo and Brando on the medium tyres. We will expect them to go into the pits very, very shortly, and they're going to be trying for the undercut strategy. If there's a safety car now, that would help it. If there's a safety car later on, that might cost them a little bit because they would have already pitted and stuff like that. So this is the time that they're going to pit. They're going to have to pit. Lap 12 or 13. 4 to 4.5% per lap are the medium tyres. So they are going to struggle a little bit. So I'm looking at Matteo and Brando's time. It's around about the same compared to everybody else. So it's still quite optimal pace. So maybe those two will find it okay to pit where their tyres are still optimal, because they're not going to lose that much time in the DRS trainers. Cameron Dowds covers off Ren's in the background. Will Matteo and Brandots go into the pits like we say? Knowing them, they're going to prove me wrong and they're going to stay out for another lap. They're going to stay out another lap, but there's one driver that's going to try and go for the move in the background. It was Renz. He's not going to do that on Cameron Dow's. He stays behind James.
Yeah, I think coming on to Matteo and Brandox about you with medium compound tyres, I have a feeling they're going to go to around about lap 16, lap 17, and then come into the pit lane, potentially, in terms of this. Currently out in fourth position, Matteo. Flopman there in third, so not looking too bad there at all at this stage. Cameron Dad's leading the way, Renz in second, Flopman there in third, Matteo there in fourth. Medium compound tyres, I have a feeling they're going to have to pit in around about lap 16, lap 17. And that's just purely to try and get 20 laps on a set of hard compound tyres towards the end. You will see, Jess, I think, the guys on the set of hards coming from around about lap 19, lap 20, as I think I earmarked out in our notes earlier on. I think they'll come in around about lap 19, lap 20, go on for around about 16, 17 laps worth of mediums towards the end of the race. The sooner you pit in, the more pleasurable it is in terms of an undercut. If you don't get that undercut, it's not the end of the world. You will have the fresher tyres towards the end of the race. So tactically, in the second half of this race, as Renz nearly has a huge moment there, coming through the banking at turn number 14. Now coming down the straight, is he going to go for the move on Cameron Dow's reacting to that? No, but Flopman is potentially on the back of Renz. Renz tries to cover off Flopman. They're all a bit unsure on what to do down towards turn number 1 there, but Cameron Dow's leads. Renz second, Flopman there in third. But in my question, Matteo and Brandox, I think they'll come in around about lap 16, 17, pit onto a set of hards, and then you'll see about 3 or 4 laps later, everyone in the set of hards coming from mediums. And that will mean Matteo and Brandox will have the undercuts, but the rest will have the tyres.
Yeah, that is an interesting debate that's always been talked about against F1 sim racing engineers. Is the undercut more powerful, or fresher tyres towards the end of the race more powerful? In F1 sim racing, of course, it's minuscule margins, so it will maybe potentially come down to the fresher tyres. But this is a track where it's quite hard to over-rotate. You are going to be stuck in a DRS train for quite a lot of the race as well. So the higher you are on track, the better you are going to be. And you do not want to be in a position to double stack. Luckily, no one's in that position unless you're Sauber. Flopman and Brando have got to go, as we got Brando and Matteo, as I said, have gone for the pit. Renz has gone for the move past Cameron Dow's. Flopman's trying to do the same thing around the outside in towards turn number 1. It becomes decided towards turn number 2. Can he hold his line around the outside through turn number 3? Oh my goodness, that was not right for Flopman. He backed off it, luckily, but that could have been so much worse.
It could have been so much worse. I fear Cameron Dow's might have a little bit of left side side pod damage potentially on that car with Flopman coming off the banking. It was very difficult. Cameron Dow's gave him room. Flopman just purely ran out of room with how the track falls away on the inside line. His track just fell away on the inside, and it's so difficult to try and recover the car. I've been there. I've made a mistake through that part of the track, so I know what Flopman has just gone through. Interesting, though, that Matteo and Brandox, as I mentioned, they've came in, lap 14, end of lap 14, now going into lap 15. They're on a set of hard compound tyres toward the end. Fetty's still out there on a set of softs, so he obviously feels that those tyres can go for the set of mediums towards the end of the race, and that's what I think he might be looking out for. Ren's now leading the way. Cameron Dow's there in second. Cameron Dow's is using all of his battery now to try and close up. He's used his deployment for the lap as there. Coming into the pit lane is, in fact, Fetty. So Fetty is into the pit lane. He will go on, I would assume, to a set of hard compound tyres to the end of the race as well. I think it's to... Actually, no, he's gone for a set of mediums.
He could go on a set of mediums. We saw the likes of Matteo. I think it was about a few laps too early, but his strategy, I think, was screwed from the start. As Brando and Matteo get ahead of Fede, which is to be expected anyway. But I think the only way that he's going to be good in this situation, if there's a safety car, Tim's done the same. Tim a lap ago has also gone for the medium tyres. But I do believe he started on the hard, so he's gone early. So I wonder what the front lot are going to do. Because we said about lap 19, 20 is the earliest the drivers are going to come into the pit. And most people will probably pit around lap 21, 22. I just don't know at this point. We could see them pit even earlier, but their tyres won't get to the end. So lap 19 will be the earliest optimal pace that the drivers can do, because otherwise their tyres won't get to the end. As Renz and Cameron Dow are still fighting for the same bit of track. Macho's out of DRS, by the way. He's struggling on those hards, but that's not going to stop Keke, though, trying to go for the move, as we got some pit stops. early pit stops from Nufa Marios, James.
Yeah, and I would have always knew coming in the pit lane. He oversped by an absolute country mile into that pit lane. Marios is in the set of medium compound tyres as well. They're going to come out, I think, side by side with this battle between Tim and Fetty running down in towards turn number 1. Nuth on the inside line. He will have the inside line coming through the corner, but the outside line is quicker through turn number 1. And Fetty and Tim are now ahead of Nuth. That's good news for Nuth, though. He has got that 5-second penalty. Could potentially get that removed if the stewards think that. I could clip that, send it into the stewards and say, well, he's sped completely into the pit lane. It's his own fault. So, unfortunately, I'm not going to do Nuth any justice there if I do clip that. But Nuth, in 13th position, he is on the back of these guys, which is absolutely crucial. He's got ahead of Marios, got ahead of Ryan as well. So this is going to be good points potentially for Nuth in this race. Looking now through turn 13 and 14, on board with the leaders. Ren's leading the way from Cameron Dowds in second. It's now turned into who can use the most ERS and try and call each other's bluff out on track. Ren's, Cameron Dowds, Flopman out on track. Keki's into the pit lane, exactly where I expected him to come in. He has come in. So Keki into the pit lane, 36 mile an hour into the pit lane, set of medium compound tyres on. This is going to be him to the end of the race. And this is what I talked about in the notes that we did. He is going to go for that sort of medium compound tyres just to purely get an undercut. Look at where he's going to come out. He's going to come out right in the fold of this battle, coming down in towards turn number 1. And I think he's going to be behind Nuth, if I'm not mistaken. He is indeed. Nuth gets the run out of turn number 1. Keki's behind him. Good news for Nuth. Good news for anyone on the tyres. But Keki has now got fresher tyres compared to them. That's where his race is going to come in the second half.
Yes, but he's going to struggle right at the end. But at the moment, this is where he's going to come into his own. He's got to be conservative on the tyres from the get-go, because he could be in a spot of bother otherwise too, right in the background. Let's have a quick run through your order then, as we're halfway into this race now. So Ren's out there on top, Cameron Dowds in P2, Flopman in P3, Macho in P4, Zorzo in 5th, Volakongan in 6th place, Baki in 7th, Brando in P8, who's been chased down by Mateo there, as we got some more pitters. Flopman, who's the first of the leaders to come into the pit lane. I was expecting Flopman to do that, to be honest, for that undercut. He's going to go on to a set of mediums to the end. I think Zorzo come into the pits as well. Yes, he's in the pits too. So both of them come out. Let's watch Mateo once again, as Mateo does get past Brandos for P6 on the road. Where they're going to come out in relation to the likes of Flopman, they're way ahead. They're way ahead at the moment. This has really helped Mateo and Brando. Their time's going to get to the end. And what's happening with Keke?
Keki's into the side of Flopman. Flopman, I'm not sure if he tried to come across and then
Flopman's got damage, I think.
Deep line. I think he has got damage. You might be right, Jess. I'm right on ball with him now. And he hasn't got any visible damage, is what I can say. It might be on the rear end more than anything else, though. But Keki on... I don't know what really happened there, because I was on board with Flopman. Flopman was side by side with Nuth. Nuth went ahead of him coming through turn number 2. Then in towards banking at turn number 3. It seems like Keki, I think, has just got too hot on the brakes, locked up. Flopman has either come across on him, or Keki has just purely done that. He's maintained that inside line just to try, as the leaders are now into the pit lane. So this will be even more interesting, because Flopman's now further down the field. These guys are into the pit lane now. We see about a pit loss of around about 19.1 seconds around this track. Everyone into the pit lane now. Medium compound tyres on. Renz and Cameron Dowds, compared to Mateo and Brando, they're behind. And they're going to be behind, I think, Tim. But look at that clear air they're coming out into. And that's all thanks to Keki rear-ending the back of Flopman through turn number 1. That has now brought Renz and Cameron Dowds completely into this race.
Yes, they were worried that the undercut is going to hinder the likes of Renz and Cameron, because they're going to lose out so much time to them. But look, they're all in that DRS train too, so this is going to be absolute masterclass. And this is good for Cameron Dowds' championship, because he's not going to lose out on that much time. And if there's a safety car, Cameron Dowds is back into it. So Cameron Dowds is going to be trying to go for moves left, right and centre. I know Noob will try and do exactly the same thing, and fresher tyres on this game has more of an advantage than older tyres. So Renz and Cameron Dowds have got to be working together, as we're seeing Noob and Keke trying to go for a bit of a ding-dong battle on the back of the final sector. This could be a real game changer if these two keep squabbling, because that will bring Renz and Cameron Dowds into this, because if they see them squabbling, then they could join in the fight as well. So look at this. We've got Noof versus Fede in towards turn number 1. Keke in this as well through turn number 1, round the outside. Rens, if I was Rens, I would stay back here, but Rens is just joining the party, joining in the fun. Through turn number 3, they go now up the hill, around the outside line, as they go through the banking. Most of these drivers just putting on brave moves, and people are saying, oh, you can't overtake there, but these drivers are proving us wrong there.
Definitely so, and Nuth and Freddy, that battle has now put Tim Brandox and Matteo about a second up the road, and that could be really important in terms of track positioning out on track, because they're on a set of hards, Tim's on a set of mediums, the front two, the net leaders of the race are on a set of hards. Look where Cameron Dowds is, by the way. Cameron Dowds, I've done the calculations in my head, it's going to be a 13-point swing between Matteo and Cameron Dowds. It was a 17-point swing. It's not enough to wrap up the championship. There goes Renz to the inside line of Keke, though. Just forces them onto the gravel. Cameron Dowds tries to get the switch back. Ignore what I've just said in terms of the points. Cameron Dowds gets the move done on Keke. Thurni's into 9th. Keke, they're down in 10th. Volakongan into the pit lane. That might be for set of softs, you know, I think, for Volakongan.
That one, no, it's mediums.
On.
I was going to say, James, are you going mad because softs don't get to the end?
Softs don't get to the end, but we saw Freddy earlier. But Freddy earlier on in the race did about 16 laps on them. And how many laps we've got left? About 15? They can make it to the end.
Well, when I drive a race around here, it doesn't.
Oh, my word,
I'm not. As Renz and Vlotman,
more side by side.
Yeah, more side by side action between the likes of Renz and Fede as well. Renz has got the pressure grip. He's getting fed up that he's been stuck by him as well. He's not going to go for it here. He's too smart for that. As we head towards it, I think Mateo potentially has got damage, but I'm looking on the back of Fede now. Fede's pretty much got less ERS than Renz Thomas, and heading towards turn 11 and 12. Round the outside they go. Renz is going to make sure. Yep, he's got this. Renz up to 6th place, and Renz is 2 places above Cameron Dowds, and it's not good for Cameron.
It's going to be 1 now because he's right on the back. 57% of ERS down and towards turn of 1 on the back of Freddy. Cameron Dowds like taking candy from an Aston Martin baby. This is going to be down and towards turn of 1. Late on the brakes. Surely going to get the job done. He has got the job done. Believe in Cameron Dowds. We once said believe in Black Box once upon a time in PSGL. Believe in Cameron Dowds, though. Doesn't have the best ring to it, to be honest. But Cameron Dowds through. And he's into 6th. And now look at where Matteo is. Matteo's in front. Brandox in 2nd. Tim Net in 3rd. Track position is crucial around this track, but given how drivers are on 5-lap fresher tyres further down the field, the likes of N, the likes of Cameron Dowd, the likes of Flotman coming through the field, Flotman not entirely out of this either, this is all now going to condense up. Matteo leading the way, Brandock 2nd, Tim there in 3rd. Newt's going to be getting dizzy, by the way, I think, in 4th position right now. He is so far up there. In terms of the undercut, it's beyond belief. He's there in 4th, he's doing a fantastic job. Ren's there in 5th, Cameron Dowd's there in 6th, but Matteo leading the way, lap 23 out of 36. Constantine reflecting towards the left-hander there. And Flopman looks for the move on Freddy, I think, in behind camera shot. But Matteo leads the way. This is where it's all going to get dicey. This is where it's all going to get spicy. This is where champions potentially are made and crowned. Ren's down in towards turn 1. Matteo getting it. Brando down in towards turn 1. Brando getting Matteo down in towards turn 1. Ren's down the inside line and Nuth. Should he get the job done? Cameron Dowds up the inside line. That's Nuth disposed of surely in this battle. Cameron Dowds gets the job done through 3. In towards 4. He's through and he's into 5th. But Brandox leads. Matteo 2nd. Tim down 3rd. The rate that they're making ground, Jess, is very good for them on tyres. They've got the fresher rubber. They'll have the fresher tyres toward the end. And Cameron Dowds has got the fresher battery towards the end as well. So I'm looking very pretty at my prediction.
Yeah, and you did say earlier that Cameron Dowds likes to use their CRS and burn it more towards the most important moments. And Cameron Dowds can sense a victory maybe, or even a podium as well. So Cameron Dowds will probably be told, just hang it in there. You have caught up to the leaders. Just take your time of getting past these guys. We don't have long to the end of the race. There's yellow flag. That is Macho spun.
Ooh.
That is on the exit of turn 10.
He's got caught on the outside curb, I think, coming through turn number 10. Tim's just got the move done on Matteo as well. Bit of a forceful one that was. Just running ball with Brent in behind on Matteo and Tim. Brannock's going to be getting ducked down and towards turn number 1 as well. Matteo to the inside line, gets the job done on 1. Does he get the job done on Brannock's? No, but runs it into the back there at Tim. Just about recovers the car. Flopman up the inside line, and Nuth gets the job done down in towards turn number 1 as well. But Brannock's leads the way. Matteo in second, Tim there in third. It's going to get dicey. Renz is desperate to try and get, I think, past Tim and Matteo. Cameron Dowds is just sitting pretty, 68% of ERS. Ren's on 24. Cameron Dowds in the box seat right now. Anything that unfolds ahead of him has got 1 risk and 1 reward. 1 risk being Tim, Renz, Matteo all get caught in an incident, Cameron Dowds is involved in it, or Cameron Dowds reaps the rewards because they're battling so aggressively ahead. He's just going to sit in behind, wait at the minute. Brannock's is trying to get away. He will, but 5 tenths of a second, not enough of a gap, as there goes Renz on the outside line, down in towards turn 11, on the outside. Job done, round the outside, beautiful move.
I think that's going to be the words of the stream. We always keep saying beautiful moves, fantastic moves. We've got to try and think of different words, I think, in the future as well. But Tim, they're going side by side, and Cameron Dowds on the banking. That is very, very brave. Cameron Dowds going to try and get past Tim on the braking zone. Can he do it? Matteo trying to do the same. And that was easy for Cameron Dowds. He waited for Tim to make a mistake. He saw Tim make a mistake, and he was like, thank you, I'm going to get the move. He's going to try and go around the outside of Renz, hit towards the exit, turn number 4. Unfortunately, that did not make it past turn number 4. And he's going to stay behind, but it would have been insane if he can make this move past. But he's just being quite the opportunistic driver right now. He's just waiting for the perfect opportunity as well. And the only ones that are not going to have a chance to win this race is people outside the top 10, because they're not in this DRS train. Noob has also got that penalty, but if there's a safety car, you can serve that penalty and you will have none, but you'll drop way to the back of the grid. And penalties hasn't become a factor as well, because warning-wise, James, the only person on warnings is the driver sitting in P6, and that is Flopman. And there was someone else on 2 warnings, but he's out. So penalty-wise, everyone's been squeaky clean, and I like it.
Everyone's been squeaky clean indeed. Brandock's leading the way, Matteo second, Renz there in third. This is the ultimate battle, by the way, that you are about to see out on track. I've been longing for the day where I've seen these 3 battling. It's Fetty and Zozo side by side. Fetty gets the job done on Zozo down and towards turn number 1. Matteo, Renz, Cameron Dowds, match of their retires into the pit lane after his spin. He is there done for this evening. But Matteo, Renz and Cameron Dowds, you know what I'm going to say now? These 3 are the best up-and-coming talents on console right now. Matteo, Renz and Cameron Dowds are right beside each other out on track. Could we get maybe a 3-wide moment between the 3 of them? I just want to throw that out there if they're listening. I just want to say that because they are very, very good in terms of that battling. Brannock's leading the way. He's controlling the race from the outset, but the cloud beginning to build over the circuit is concerning for those on the side of hard. Here comes Renz, though, on the back of Matteo. Matteo's going to try and push him all the way to the right-hand side of the track. Renz tries to force the inside line open. Now down in towards turn number 12. Tries to get the job done. Brannock's now flies away out in front, but Renz is still there on the inside line through turn 13. Brilliant move by Renz. That is what you want to see from the upcoming talent on console. Here comes Matteo back on them. Cameron Dowds is whetting the appetite right now for maybe a 3-wide down and towards turn number 1. Renz and Matteo are going to go side by side. Cameron Dowds still late on the brakes in behind Matteo. This is the battle we all wanted to see in PSF1 this season. And Cameron Dowds tries to get the job done on Matteo, his long-standing title rival, to the inside line through 3. Brilliant stuff by Cameron Dowds. Renz through and he's into second. Cameron Dowds through and he's into third. And Matteo, one hand on that championship, now going astray.
Yes, because Cameron Dowds is ahead, and he's going to close the gap, which means it will go down to 2 more races, which is great to see. But this fight is still going to go on and on, James. It's far from over, as they're still quite close. And Brando is pulling off a little bit of a gap. This is crucial. Cameron Dowds has lost a bit of time to Renz. So it's going to be a battle between Cameron Dowds and Matteo. Meanwhile, Flopman and Noob still fighting Tim in there as well. Flopman's going to try and go for the move down the inside of Tim in towards turn 11, but he can't quite do it, unfortunately. But I think it's going to be attempt 2 for these 3 guys in the next lap as we go on to lap 29. But Renz has found some time on the back of Brando. This could be Renz's opportunity to get into the race leader. Here he comes in. DRS wide open. He's got the slipstream. Can he do it? Nobody's bad top, but he almost hit Cameron Dowds in the process. Naughty, naughty, but luckily no damage there as well. What Cameron Dow's Matteo is doing right now, at least Matteo is doing, I wonder if Matteo is saving some time. It's Keke's out of the session, he's retired in the pit lane as well. He's called it quits. Don't know why, but a bit of a shame for him.
I honestly think with how Matteo and Brandux have pushed each other earlier on in the stint, I think those tyres are actually beginning to go off, personally. Volakongan and Marios are side by side, through in towards Skyflack at turn number 7. Marios ahead of Volakongan up into 10th position. But I think with how aggressive they fought to try and get the undercut strategy on, Brandux has done in terms of his tyres. Renz and Cameron Dowd is going to get this move done one way or another. Renz there snapping the car, coming out of turn number 10. Now into the chicane of turns 11 and 12 as we see Taki there leaving the session of retiring in the pit lane there as well. So he is done after his marvellous move pulled off earlier on. It's Skyflack, but Brandux leads the way. Francesco saying he's goated. Maybe not for long, because Renz and Cameron Dowd on the fresher set of mediums are going to be right there and thereabouts. So Matteo is now getting back into this race as well. And he's on the back of Cameron Dowd running towards turn 1. Could see 3 wide down the straight. Matteo is boxed in completely. Cameron Dowd to the inside line on Renz. Renz to the inside line on Brandux. Brandux has been done like an absolute mug there through turn number 1. And now Cameron Dowd and Renz go to war through turn number 3. Now in towards Hugenholt at turn number 4. Renz to the inside line, gets the job done. Cameron Dowd, Matteo sweeps up and under as well. There goes Flopman. There goes Tim potentially on the back. 4 moves in the space of how many corners for Brandux, losing the position. But Renz their lead. Cameron in second. Matteo there in third. As I say, he was once goated, now he's not. And I think we're on mute, Jess.
Brando has dropped from first down to 5th spot. Brando is not what he wanted. He was over pushing it on the tide. You could tell with the lap times that he was faster than a lot of drivers at the early part of the race on those hard tyres. But as soon as he got to the end of the race, he's just struggling for grip, whereas everybody else, Rando's been saving a little bit. But you can already see Matteo struggling a little bit as well. Flopman's catching up too, so could there be a battle between Renz, Cameron Dowd and Flopman for the race victory? I think we could see that, but Renz is pulling away from Cameron Dowd ever so slightly. You can see some moves going on in the background as Volakongan and Fede side by side. There was a bit of a slide for Volakongan there. As Fede to the inside line through turn number 3. Is he going to make the move done this time, the Aston Martin driver? Now he's going to go to the outside line. He's all going to go to the outside line. Volakongan stays ahead. It's the battle for the final points paying position as Miles is in there too.
Yeah, Zolza running on the back of Nuth, running up the hill and towards Skyflack. Oh, I thought he was looking to the inside line there. That was a cheeky one from the Spaniard if he was going to pull that one off. But Volakongan through and he's into 9th position. That was a really good move. He had to control that car. He lost it coming through into the braking zone at turn number 1. Had to hot steer the car coming through the corner. And Volakongan had really good car control to get that car under control and to get that move done on the back of Fede. Fede now dropping through the field. Marios is now on the back of these guys in 11th position. Zolzo there fighting with Nuth further up the field, but Renz trying to make his escape for glory. 38% of ERS. Cameron Dowd, 94. Nowhere near going to be anywhere near the ERS of Renz, of Cameron Dowd towards the end of the session as the man in the lead of the race. I think I know where this is going. I hope some of you guys know at home where this is going as well, but Marios is going up to P10, down the inside line of turn number 1 on the back of Fede. Gets the job done, he's foodies into 10th. But Renz leading the way, Cameron Dowd in second. It is not a matter of if Cameron Dowd is going to get this race win. It's a matter of when Cameron Dowd is going to get this race win.
You potentially jinxed it, Mr. Head. And if Cameron Dowd does not win this race, guess who he's going to blame it on? He's going to blame it on you. Put all your eggs into one basket. But if you haven't already done so, make sure you leave a like on this video, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell if you're new, if you're on YouTube. If you are on Twitch, make sure you hit that big follow button as well so you get notified when we go live too. And also follow us on Twitter at PremierSimGL and Instagram at PremierSimGL. Ren's still out there on top. Cameron Dowd in P2 has been a completely dry race so far. There's been race lead changes like no tomorrow. The midfield has been scrapping. There's been 3 wide, but for the majority of it, it's been relatively clean from the front guys, which is really great to see. We've had no safety cars. We had quite a few virtual safety cars, but no safety cars so far, and I don't think we're going to get any. And I just want to ask a question to you, James. Are anyone very dangerously running out of fuel?
No, I don't think they are, but Zolz's caught up an instant down and towards turn number one.
no.
That's a shame for him. He dived it to the inside line. I think it was on Nuth, if I'm not mistaken, down and towards turn number one. And Zolza there round through the corner. Might have right side end plate damage on the car as well. That's unfortunate because the gap was there. Ryan looks like he's low on field. Just like actually looking at both of the guys as I flick through quickly. Nobody in the top 10 is running low on fuel at this stage. It's only
That's
Ryan,
good.
I think, that is under fueled in this race, and he's been obviously right down at the back of the field. But Ren's leading the way, Cameron Dowd in second. Francesco saying Ren's is winning. I think Ren's can only win if he uses the one trick that I think he's got in his playbook, and that is to drag this race out into a long sprint going for the final 3 laps of the race. Cameron Dowd, he knows he's got more battery. He's probably been fed that information by now, if he hasn't already. He's got 100% battery, Cameron Dowd. Ren's on 49%. If anything, if I was Renz, I'd try and drag out the battery to try and get Cameron Dowd. Maybe just make a slight mistake, maybe then get put 6, 7 tenths back, and then he's going to use that battery up to good effect as Cameron pulls the inside line into someone, tries to defend the move. But Matteo there on the back of Cameron Dowd, not quite close enough, but Matteo, you're right in thinking, he's not entirely out of this either. He's on that sort of hard compound of tyres as also there tyres in the pit lane. Ryan, I think, is coming in for the fastest lap attempt potentially as well. But Ren's leading the way, Cameron Dowd in second. Look, if I'm being honest, I want Cameron Dowd looks like he's on for the race win 100%, but anything can happen in Formula One, and it usually does.
And I want to see a scrap for the final lap for the race win. I want to see the top 4 going for it. It can be done, because you can see Flotman having a second chance at it, because he was saving a few laps ago. Now he's having the opportunity to push, so maybe he can go for the race win potentially as well. And I think I know what Rend is doing. Rend is going to force Cameron Dowles to use a bit of ERS, so Rend and Cameron will be on the same ERS there, and then Rend could potentially win this race, because you can't overtake. That is potentially what Rend is going to do, and if he does that, that's going to be very smart play from Rend Tomlinson. And I'm just trying to remember, when was Rend's, if I scroll up to the top of my notes, Rend's last win was race 2, and that was Belgium. That was ages ago. I think that was over a month or 2 ago. So this could be his first win in 2 months, and he could be back in his championship fight. Blotman, well, I'm not sure at this point, because obviously Matteo and Cameron Dowd are outscoring them. If Flotman finishes below Cameron Dowd and Matteo, unfortunately Flotman is out of the championship fight. But if Rend finishes ahead, he could still be in with a potential chance, but we will have to do the maths. But this could turn into a 2-horse fight for all we know. But James, you commentated on the start. I'll let you do the final lap.
Here we go then. Final tour of the Dutch Grand Prix about to begin, and Renz is getting his rear end snappy, coming to the left hand of turn number 12. On board with Cameron Dowds now through 13 and 14. Renz leading the way. Cameron Dowds there. Renz is there to be shot at, and he's there to be shot out of a cannon. Down and towards turn 1. Cameron Dowds closing in quickly. No contest, surely down and towards turn 1. But Renz is there late on the brakes, trying to fight Cameron Dowds on the outside line. Still, though, no contest. Coming through turn 1. Cameron Dowds is half a car length ahead. Renz to the inside line, tries to fight back. He's got overtake mode on, which is why Cameron Dowds is struggling to try and find the move. And Renz all of a sudden fights back, and Renz is back into the race lead. But Cameron Dowds has that battery use up the hill, and that is picture perfect from the Scotsman to the outside line, brilliant at the sky flat. Cameron Dowds leads the race from Renz there in second, Matteo there in third. It seems like the top three's between these three, but now both of them are out of battery. Cameron Dowds has got slightly more to try and fend off Renz. There's another DRS detection point coming through this part of the track now, through the left-hand turn number 10. Cameron Dowds, I think that was too far ahead. Renz is going to have one more try down into the chicane, but I think it's going to be good enough for the Scotsman. As he now comes in toward the left-hander at turn number 12, the Cameron Dowds, the flying Scotsman, now coming through the right-hander of Harry Lundijk through the final corner. He will come. DRS is all the way to the line. Renz might still get him, you know. This is not over and done with yet. Cameron Dowds on the run to line, hanging on. He hangs on. 400th of a second. Renz in second. Matteo there is third. Oh my word, I was sweating buckets there to the line. But Cameron Dowds wins. Renz in second. Matteo there in third. Fantastic, and Renz would have wanted that straight to be 20 yards longer. He would have won if that straight was 20 yards longer. But Cameron Dowds wins by the skin of his teeth.
Cameron Dow's, that is his third race win in 4 races. He is the man on form right now. Mateo is the man on form. It is the battle between Mateo and Cameron Dow's for the championship. We will have to, James surely will do the math to see if Lotman and Renz are still in it. I think Renz will be in it only just. Gap is 42 points though, so I think Renz might be out of it too. So it may just go down to our top 2, Mateo and Cameron Dow's. A 2-horse fight for the title. We used to be getting 5 or 6 drivers for the title, so it's going to be being played plain simple. But what a race! One of the best Zandvoort races I've ever seen in PSF1, I have to say, in terms of commentary wise. And Cameron Dow's just knew which buttons to push, and he timed it with his battery as well. He was very close there. Pure respect between the top 2 as well. Mateo did what he needed to do to stay within contention. He didn't get close to Cameron Dow's, unfortunately, to gain points, but he still has another chance to win the title next week in Brazil. But I will go through the results for you. Cameron Dow's wins from Renz, Mateo, Flotman, Brando, Tim, Bolagongan, Marios gets 3 points to his name. One of his best results in PSGL. Well done to him. Baki gets some points as well, and so has Fede. And then we got Noob, Ryan, Cipolla, and we got Zorzo, Keke, Macho, and Gustav for your retirement. And I'm looking at the chat right now. Cameron's dad thinks that was emotional. He said he's so proud of my son. Do you know what Cameron Dow's dad reminds me of? Remember what happened when Alfie Butcher took the race win in Austria in F1 Sim Racing, and he saw Alfie's dad, gave him a big hug and had an interview live on stream? That gives me vibes of them as well. It's great to see the parents of drivers in PSGL supporting their very own and celebrating like they have won the race. It is incredible. And yes, Joseph, Cameron Dow's did win.
He did. Just. And do you know what? I'm looking very smug now in the commentary box after that. I said about 3 laps before the end of the race, it was going to be no contest. And to be fair, Renz made it a hell of a fight up the hill. Cameron Dow's in the waiting room, by the way, so we'll invite him in shortly. But Renz made that a real fight for Cameron Dowd. And in the end, Cameron Dowd had to come out on top. He had to use more battery than necessary. But to go for an unorthodox move with that battery usage up the hill, through the roller coaster section, in towards turn number 7 at Sky Flag, that was where the race was decided for me. And that was just purely because Cameron Dowd, in terms of his ERS management, I've banged on weeks and weeks and weeks about it. His ERS management is second to none. One of the best, I think, on console right now. Proven that. I did say he was the man in form, and he's now gone 5 races without being out of the top 4. That is a man in form. That is a man that's hunting down Mateo for the championship.
Yes, and I think we get to speak to him now as I change scenes, and it's over to you, Mr. James Head, to interview our race winner.
Well, here he is. Here he is. Oh my word, he had to work for that, to be fair. But the man who finished in P1, by the skin of his teeth, as I called it there on the final lap, is Mr. Cameron Dowd. And Cameron, that's 3 wins in 5 now. Never been out of the top 4 in the last 5 races as well. Congratulations on the race win, but Renz, my word, he had to make you work hard for that one.
Yeah, the qualifying pace was pretty shocking, to be honest. My PB was a mid-7, and there was people. I mean, Ren's PB was a 0.4, so it's pretty shocking. But the setup I chose just seemed to be. It was so that was the first time I actually used that setup in the race. And it was just really good. It was just so stable, and I just felt I could push the car, so the race pace was good. And then yeah, it was very hard. The race was going really smoothly, and then me and Flotman, I think he just had a bit of an oversteer moment when I was going around the outside of him. He hit me, and I had to use 100% of my battery. I went from 100 to 0 trying to catch Renz back up, because I assumed he was dumping all his battery to try and get away from me, so that made it a little bit more uncomfortable. And then for the first few laps after I pitted onto the mediums, I was actually just letting Renz do the work for me, which worked a charm actually. I ended up being able to pass 3 people because of him like holding them up when he was overtaking them without using ERS. Because for the first few laps, I went from like 50% when I came out the pits, and then I was like on 80 or 90, and then I was able to just step behind, get to 100. And then I knew I had more ERS than Renz, but on the last lap, it was a really good battle, really clean. I ruined myself. I double downshifted twice after turn 1. I would have got past him so much easier, but then I double downshifted, so that made it a bit harder. And then I really thought he was going to get me on the line. I don't really know how he did, and he was really close to me. But yeah, it's quite fortunate, and I'm really happy that I've won, because I don't think... Well, I did have good pace in the race, but I didn't feel so comfortable on this track.
Yeah, to be honest, you said that now. You look very comfortable, I've got to say, out on that track, out on there. It was fantastic, I think, from our perspective in commentary, because I said about 3 laps before the end of the race, oh, he's got this one, and then you double downshifted, and then you went for the unorthodox move up the hill and towards turn number 7. Had to make it work hard, but champions have to work hard, I think, and with that closure of the gap now, it was 17 points, I think, coming into tonight. Mateo finishing in 3rd, you finishing in 1st. I think that's a 6-point gain, if I'm not mistaken, on your part. So going into the final 2 races of the season, how can you overcome that deficit on Mateo? Mateo's sitting in the waiting room right now. How can you overcome that deficit going into the final 2 races of the season?
Make sure I beat him in both the races and come first. I don't know what the last 2... What are the last 2 tracks?
Brazil and
Texas.
Kota.
Yeah, I quite like both of those tracks, so I will see what happens, but I'll just have to probably put in a little bit more practice than usual, because this is like really similar to last season as well. I think it was similar points being behind Aurelian, and then he ended up beating me, but hopefully that doesn't happen again.
Yeah, let's hope there's no deja vu involved in terms of this championship fight. You are the man currently in form, the man currently with a 3rd race win to your name in 5 races, as I say, which is an absolute phenomenal record going forward. I'm going to hand you over to Jess. Congratulations on the race win. Jess, any questions?
Nothing from me this week, but Cameron, massive congratulations. I don't know how you pulled off those great moves in this race, but best of luck for the last 2 rounds, and we'll see if it can be taken to the final round. Well done. We'll let you go and enjoy your evening.
Yep, thank you.
And I think Mateo is on PS5, so we're going to have to move ourselves to the rating room. We may as well go and do that now.
I'll move in there now.
Yeah, we're both in there now, so over to you, James.
There we are. Hopefully, this will work. Mateo, first of all, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Fantastic stuff. Mateo. P3 out on track. Congratulations on the podium. On that sort of hard compound of tyres, it was going to be very difficult, I think, to fend off Cameron and Renz, a much fresher tyres, a much fresher rubber. But for P3 out on track, you did a phenomenal job, and you stayed there right to the death, so congratulations on that.
Yeah, qualifying not the best, but I knew that my alternate strategy was clearly the best one, because I got the track position, I was pretty much on full battery, and everyone behind was nearly flashing or flashing. So yeah, someone just pushed me off, just didn't care about me. And that was when the alternate strategy went into the bin, because, you know, here in Zandvoort, it's really hard to get the position back, even if you have much more battery. And yeah, I think I was clearly the fastest today. Maybe not the fastest, but the one that put his car in the best place to fight for the win. But yeah, when they push you off, there's nothing you can do.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. I think that happened within the race. Obviously, from your perspective, I'm sure the stewards will have a look into that if anything is going to be reported. But you were right there in terms of that fight. It was just, I think, the quicker rubber of the mediums catching up on you. You put in around, I think, lap 14, if I'm not mistaken, on that set of mediums for a set of hards. What was going through your mind coming into the pit stop, making that early pit stop? Were you thinking, there's going to be another safety car, I could perhaps get a little bit lucky?
Actually, I admitted I didn't want a safety car, obviously, but I was very confident about my pure pace. So I said, I'll just go into the pits, get the undercut, get the track position. And then when I saw Brando pit as well, I was so happy because I knew we could swap DRS every lap. That's what we did. And we put both our cars in the best positions to fight for the win or the second position. But as I said, that contact, that incident made everything go into the bin. Still really happy with what I showed today, but unfortunately it might not be enough to extend the lead in the championship, and that's what matters at this point.
Yeah, I was saying that in Cameron Dowd's interview that you have now lost 6 points, I think, as a result of Cameron Dowd's taking that race win. Pretty much the same question I asked Cameron in that interview. Final 2 races of the season, how are you going to try and fend off that deficit that Cameron Dowd has got to reach you? It's now, what, 11 points, I think the gap's going to be. So how are you going to maintain that 11-point gap going into the final 2 races?
You know, when you're against a driver like Cameron, there's not much you can do apart from driving at your best. And not even my best might be enough to win the championship. So yeah, I just gotta do my best and see what comes out of the last 2 races. I might miss the next one. I'll try to be there, but if I can't, then it will be even tougher to win the championship.
I would say this, though, at least you will still be in championship contention, even if you don't attend next week. Because you and Cameron Dowd, I think, have got it between yourselves now. So at least you've got that in mind, potentially. If you don't make it next week, you're still in the championship fight going into COTA, although the task will be a hell of a lot more difficult, as you recognise there. Jess, any questions?
No, nothing from me, thanks. And congratulations again for P3. I really do hope, for your sake, that you're here next week, because I don't want you to miss on your chance. But yeah, best of luck in the rest of the championship, and well done on your P3 tonight. We'll let you go and enjoy your evening.
Thanks, James. Thanks, Jess. Have a nice evening.
Very welcome indeed. And I think that concludes our interviews for tonight, which means I think we can go on the comms box 1 again.
Yes, we can go in the comms box 1 as we're about to wrap up proceedings here tonight. I'm almost just about recovering from that, James, are you?
I probably have recovered from that, to be honest. I mean, as I said in commentary there, 20 yards later, Rennes probably would have won that. And I'm just going to put that out there. He would have won ahead of Cameron Dowd. But in the end, he didn't. Cameron Dowd was just the stronger on the day. And I think all that came down to was the position of the car, most crucially, I think, on that final lap, but also his ERS management during that race. His ERS management, as I say, is the best on console right now. Anybody that comes at me in DMs or anything is wrong, because I honestly think that, and I honestly think that Cameron Dowd has got a really good chance now winning this championship. As I alluded to in both their interviews, an 11-point deficit is still a deficit to gain. No matter if it's a 1-point deficit or a 21-point deficit, an 11-point deficit is still very, very hard to gain. But going into the final 2 races of the season, Brazil, I know Mateo's strong around there. I know Cameron Dowd is strong around there. COTA, 2 weeks' time, I know both of them are strong around that track as well. If Mateo doesn't make it next week, it's not all doom and gloom. Cameron Dowd can pick up 16 points in the fastest lap, and he'd only be 6 points clear going into the final race of the season. So Mateo has got that in mind. If he doesn't make it next week, he's going to be in within title contention. And then it all comes down to the final race of the season. Whether or not Mateo was there next week, whether or not Cameron Dowd will take the race win next week, whether or not these questions will go unanswered is a different thing. But Brazil, COTA, final 2 races of the season. Brazil next week, though, Jess. How are the drivers going to be preparing for that? And what could Brazil throw up in terms of the action for the penultimate round of the championship?
Well, James, Brazil can bring a lot of spice, let's just say. We've had a few championship deciders. Remember season 36 when Gil won, I think, on the final lap as well. I remember commentating on a race in F2 where Fabi, I think, was nowhere in the title fight, and then he went on to win the title in F2 back in the day as well in Brazil. So it's always been a scene of title deciders. We could get one next week, potentially, if Mateo could pull off a great race and he's here as well. And it's a track which I like because it could produce lots of great overtakes. So make sure you stay tuned for us next week at 8 p.m. But we are not done this week. PC is back on Thursday with Brazil. They missed Zandvoort due to F1 Sim Racing, but they're back with Brazil. PCF2 to F5 on Thursday with PCF2 at 8 p.m. And then we've got E-Series back on Friday as they conclude their season with the final few rounds of the season. Then it'll be us next week. James, do you want to do a final plug of our sponsors and partners, please?
Final plug for our sponsors. GT Omega in the background, 5% off on all GT Omega plugs. I know they are releasing a lot of new content, I've got to say, GT Omega right now. So if you do want to get involved, you can use that code at PSGL for, is it 10% checkout or is it 5%?
GT Omega is 5%.
5%. Sim Racing Centre, however, is 10% check off. That's why I was getting a little bit confused. But Sim Racing Centre, of course, going forward into F1 24, perhaps a bit of information coming out tomorrow, rumoured on social media. But Sim Racing Centre is the lead provider for all things F1 23 and F1 24. If you need a mega setup, expert engineering, or strategy advice, or one-to-one coaching with some of their amazing team, you can book a session and get direct advice from two-time F1 esports champion or two-time F1 Sim Racing champion, Brendan Lee. You can have a look at SRC using the link below in the description and use PSGL at checkout for 10% off your purchase. There we are.
And Brendan Lee was a podium sitter last week as well, so he did very well there in sim racing. But we're going to let you guys go and enjoy the rest of your evening. Just keep up to date on all our socials at Premier Sim GL so keep up to date on all the news, all the clips, and you can keep an eye on our socials down below where we may inform you of any shoes reports, if there's any. I hope there isn't. But from myself, Jess Ball, and from James Head, have a good evening, and we'll see you next week for the penultimate round of the season, the Brazilian Grand Prix. Will Mateo win the title next time out, or will Cameron Dowles have something to ask to that, like this week? Thanks for your company. See you soon, and bye-bye. He's got the inside, all here is through, on the left-hand side, hooks the apex, gets on the power nicely, and that is job done. Jarno Opmeer now, to the last couple of corners now, his finest drive, his greatest drive, and he's done it at the Circuit of the Americas. He returns to the top step of the podium. Once again, the ghost is back. Jarno Opmeer wins the US Grand Prix in a stunning Grand Prix.